Good day, everybody. Hi, this is Mike from Real Raw Recovery. Welcome back to the Triple R Show, where honesty meets healing every single day. We're glad to have you back. And today we are going to continue with the holiday theme and be discussing compassion through the holidays. With the holidays have the tendency to bring everything to the surface. And whether that's wonderful memories, difficult memories, relationships that feel warm, some relationships that may still feel distant. But in recovery, the holidays are very meaningful. But with that comes reflection. And reflection is going to come whether it's invited or not. And it's going to be old stories that are popping up, old feelings that are resurfacing. And we have to be aware of those feelings when the reflection does come so that we're able to stay grounded and present in the moment. And it's okay to have reflection as long as your reflection is in a healing way. Once we start obsessing over our choices and our behaviors, that's when it becomes troubling and our transformation begins to stall or halt completely. And through the holidays brings contrast and as a comparison as to who we were then and who we are now. And also choices that we used to make and choices that we make now. And also remember to have pride in where you've come from and situations that are going to come in the future as to regretting past choices and outcomes of our decisions. And with that comes awareness. And awareness could be a gift or it could be a challenge. It's a gift when we see things clearly and we have some clarity in situations. We recognize old patterns. We understand the impact that our choices make on other people. When we turn that inside on ourselves and we obsess on it, is when we turn that into judgment and punishment. And that is where compassion comes into play. And that's why I wanted to talk about compassion, not just as a phrase, but as a tool to use. So without compassion, our awareness becomes, just like I said, punishment. And that reflection, which could be healing, starts turning into shame. And our growth, which should be a feeling of freedom, starts becoming a weight on our shoulders. And so here's the truth of recovery, is that the role of awareness for the choices that we made in the past, and that is where it all comes back down to the knowledge, the understanding, and awareness of that we had at the time. So we cannot judge ourselves for choices that we made with the clarity and the awareness and the knowledge that we had when we made those decisions. And that was the biggest hurdle for me personally, because I continued to regret and to think over and over again about things that I had done and things that I wished that I had not done. And I'd be thinking about it at night going to sleep, and it was very difficult. And then I would think about it throughout the day. So how could I possibly find myself when I couldn't escape that guilt and that shame and that jail that I had placed myself in over and over again about things that I couldn't change in the future? And that's the whole knowledge, understanding, and awareness thing that we have talked about. And it doesn't mean that we're not responsible for those things. But it does mean that you own your past. But it doesn't mean that your past is your identity. And during the holidays, this comes into play to an even greater degree, because now you're dealing with more connections, different people, more conversations, more traditions, more memories. And again, that's where compassion comes into play, and that keeps us grounded and in the present moment so that we can actually enjoy the company that we're with, that we can listen to the laughter and experience the camaraderie in a way that we had never experienced it before. Now, with that, through recovery is going to increase our awareness. And again, we said that could be a gift if we allow it to be, or it could be a challenge. But that awareness also leads to choice. And with that choice comes our responsibility. And all of that cannot continue and cannot happen unless we have compassion for ourselves. Because then it all starts getting tangled up in a web if we're not grounded. And the choices that we make today not because we hate the person that we were that made those choices in the past, but because we understand ourselves so much better than we had before when we were making those choices. So that, to me personally, is the greatest tool that we can use, is compassion for ourselves and not rehash those old events. Yes, again, we take responsibility for it. Was it right? No. Was it the best thing to do? Absolutely not. Were our intentions poor? No, they were not, because we're not bad people trying to get better. We're good people that have finally found ourselves and are making good decisions and good choices for ourselves and for the people that we love. And now what we're talking about with compassion, we're not just talking about compassion with us internally, especially during the holidays. Now we're coming around people again and family events and parties and sitting around the tree or wherever you celebrate the holidays, and other people are coming into the equation. So we have to extend that compassion to them because those people are coming into situations with their own stories, their own wounds, and we need to give them the same respect with the knowledge, understanding, and awareness that they might not be at the same level of awareness that you are right now. And that's where reflection can benefit you, and that compassion for other people and understanding that you too were in that spot. Hi, everybody. This is Mike, and I hope you're enjoying our podcast. And I just wanted to remind everybody that Real World Recovery at realworldrecovery.org, we do offer one-on-one coaching sessions for transformational therapy, where we focus on personal responsibility and self-esteem, which we believe is the true essence of long-term sobriety and happiness. We do offer a free 30-minute consultation where you and I sit down, I get to know your story, you get to know my story a little bit more, and we start developing a plan for you moving forward. So we look forward to getting to know you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the podcast. Another important factor and tool that we can use in recovery during the holidays is your boundaries and setting up your boundaries. Compassion doesn't mean saying yes to everything that everybody asks you and looking for that, seeking that approval from external people or external situations. So setting your boundaries is building strength for you from the inside out. So by saying I can't do that right now, I don't have the time, is not being selfish. Saying I love you, but I'm not going to tolerate that behavior is totally acceptable for anybody, but especially somebody in recovery. And I can also have empathy for people and for situations without losing myself and staying in the present moment, staying grounded. Because once we lose ourselves, then it's off to the races. And then we start forgetting about all the other things that are important with our choice, our responsibility, and our power and our awareness. And protecting our recovery is an act of compassion for ourselves. And that has to be remembered at all times. And especially we talked about with being pulled into family dynamics around the holidays, that there may be resentments. Well, there's no room for resentments because we are responsible for everything that we feel, say, think, do, and experience. And we've talked about that ad nauseum pretty much every podcast. So there's no space for resentments because if you have a resentment, you're being drawn into the past. And if you're feeling fear, then that's driving you towards the future. And we have to stay at the present moment because the holidays are here. The holidays are now. So if we're going to stay sober and engaged and have peace through the holidays, then we have to have compassion for ourselves. And with that compassion, that's going to allow us to enjoy the holidays and not just get through them, because that's the phrase, get through something. Through this transformational process, we should never have to get through anything. We have the tools now that we're able to analyze, to be aware, reflect on old situations and responses to old situations, because we don't act the same way that we used to during similar situations. So we have the strength to be able to pursue and forge through anything that's going to come our way. And again, things arise. Things always arise. So it doesn't have to be the perfect holiday. Don't try to concoct everything that's going to be absolutely perfect. All you have to do is be in the moment and be present, because we're not flawless and we don't lack emotion, and we should never get to the point where we think that we do have that. If we keep it real, and we don't let the weight of old expectations and the burden of old thoughts create new memories, then that's where we're not taking control of our destiny, and that's where we're not being responsible for everything that we experience. So anyways, anybody, again, thank you for joining us on the RRR show, Real World Recovery, where honesty meets healing every single day. We're so glad that you can be here with us. And as the holidays are quickly approaching, let's remember to practice compassion so that we can stay connected, we can stay present, we can stay grounded, because by using these skills, that's the greatest gift we can give ourselves so that we can enjoy the holidays, be safe, be happy, and we will see you after the new year. We are taking a hiatus until after January 1st. And keep these tools close to your vest. And remember, you are responsible for everything you think, feel, say, do, and experience. Bye-bye, everybody.